Let me know when the council's ready.
I'm ready, Dave.
Thank you, Jay.
I'm good.
And Joe, let me know when
All set.
Zoom is. And let
You're
me know
good
when
to go.
Zoom is ready, Joe.
You're all set.
Okay, good evening. Meeting call to order. Today is June 15th. It is now 7:24 p.m. Town Council meeting via Zoom. Councilman Licciardi, will you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Messier, will you lead us in prayer?
I'm going to make it a quick one. Seeing as it's Pride Month, I just want to say I'm proud to live in a community that as a whole believes in inclusion, regardless of one's gender or sexual orientation. So I'm going to leave one quick quote. It's from South African activist Zanil Muhali. If I wait for someone else to validate my existence, it will mean that I'm shortchanging myself. Thank you.
Thank you. And roll call.
Councilman Messier,
Here.
Councilman Licciardi,
Here,
Council Vice President Williamson,
Here.
and Council President Goslin.
Here.
Quorum on record. First item of business tonight is the consent agenda. We have cancellation of taxes as requested by the tax assessor. Another cancellation of taxes is requested by the tax assessor, and addition of taxes to the tax roll as requested by the tax assessor.
Move approval of the consent agenda.
Second.
Moving second. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll take a roll call vote. Councilman Licciardi,
yes.
Councilman Messier,
Yes.
Councilwoman Williamson,
Yes.
and I vote yes.
Okay, next order of business is the business licenses, 01 through 17.
Move approval of the licenses.
I'm going to recuse myself.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Moving second, discussion. Number 1 and number 2, review of Boomerang's Roadhouse car show license and events. Do we have any update on that? Have we received any complaints, concerns, questions, comments?
I've not received any. I did receive one complaint about the process and the notification. I think maybe Sarah could talk about that. But we did have the police and fire department go by during operation, and there were no complaints or issues that we saw. It was a lightly attended event.
Sarah, do we receive any other issues, complaints,
We
concerns?
did receive one complaint from an abutter who had complained about the noise. She's a tenant in one of the buildings there. Unfortunately, we have no way to track the tenants and rental properties. It's the property owner that needs to inform their tenants, and we did add that clause to our notification list. I invited her to attend tonight's meeting to express her concerns. I don't believe she's on the call.
Is anybody here for Boomerangs? If you are, please raise your hand. I do not see anybody, so. Anybody have any questions or concerns about the review of Boomerangs? And Chief,
Dave,
you said, go ahead, Jay.
I think in a situation like this, when you're running an event and you're not quite sure how many people you're going to get, it's all, some of it has to be reactionary, where as long as we have the process in place and the process is followed, it's a lot different if there's 20 people that come to see the car show or 100 people. And obviously with more people, there's possibly more problems. So I think we pass this, and if issues come up, obviously we're going to get a phone call, or Mark will get a phone call, or the police department. But I think until then, I think we just have to be reactionary to this.
Okay, Dave, one other thing.
Go ahead, Chief.
Just to add in is we did put some restrictions on the number of cars that they could have at the show, when we capped that at 25. And we did make mention that when the parking lot was full, no one could park out on Prov. They're going to have to turn away. Like if any additional cars come, they'd have to turn them away. If any additional customers come, they're going to also have to turn them away. That once that lot is full, that's it.
That's it.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
We did make those
Thank you.
provisions.
So the only thing that I heard was something before the event, an event even took place, I think, and it was the same thing that Sarah had talked about. And Mark, I think you were involved in that too, notification, and we followed what the rules are, but if it's going to an owner as opposed to a tenant, the owner may not care. So yes, we hope that they will follow the instruction and let their tenant know.
Thank you. I'll take a roll call vote.
So can I, before that was Boomerang's, can I ask about 17, which is M&M Food Service and the Class F liquor license?
I think 16 and 17 are together.
Okay, but I'm worried about the Class F liquor license and what the implications of that are.
Chief Mark Knott, do you have any questions, or do you know anything about that?
I believe Sarah mentioned that earlier, that there is an event up there that they were looking to have food and liquor be sold. And based on previous discussions where a proper caterer with the Class F license was able to provide that service there, and their license and insurance coverage manages that event. So I believe it's just following the same path as previous events up there have happened.
Okay, so this isn't a new Class F liquor license that's being.
No.
Okay,
So
that's what I
it's-
want to make
it's-
sure. This isn't a temporary one day. This is someone who has a Class F, and their services are being rendered. Okay.
And I think
Actually, they have a Class P as well as, I believe, a BVL. They have 2 liquor licenses already. A Class F, what that means is it's a one-time event. They can do it up to 12 times a year, I believe, off location as to where they're licensed. And so I think that's what you're allowing. So you're allowing this one-time event.
and it happens once a year. It is the Brian St. Germain.
And I
Usually a
just wanted to clarify
motorcycle-
that.
Yeah, it's usually the full motorcycle run, but this year they're doing a motorcycle and poker event. So, and I think they've met with Major Archambault about roping off a certain area in the Civic Center where the food truck is going to be. So, and I think it's been in Acting Chief Levine. Do you have any questions or concerns on this?
Mr. Goslin, we spoke with Major Archibald, and we're going to continue to monitor the situation. They're going to need to have a roped off area, so-called a beer garden, as well as a police detail for the event. So We're going to maintain good contact with the vendor to make sure that it's a safe and responsible event.
Thank you. Any other questions?
No, and I think it's a great event. I just wanted to clarify because I did have a couple people ask about the Class F liquor license.
Hearing no more questions, any public comment on these licenses? Hearing none, I'll take a roll call vote. Councilman Licciardi?
I'm voting yes for number 1 through 16. I'm voting 17, which I know goes with 16. So I'm for the event. I'm just not for alcohol on town property, like I've stated years before. So I don't know how you want to differentiate.
You made it clear you're voting no for 1 to 6, voting yes for 1 to 16 and voting no for 17.
Correct.
Councilman Licciardi. Whoop, I'm getting some back. Councilman Messier recused himself. Councilman Williamson,
I'm voting yes.
for all 17.
Yes.
And I vote yes for all 17. So all licenses that are on the agenda have been passed and approved.
Okay, on to ordinances. Second reading of ordinance 2021-7, amending section 3.29 definitions, family members, section 5.6.16.21, accessory family dwelling units, and section 8.1, alteration of non-conforming use.
Move the ordinance.
Second.
Moved and seconded.
That's bringing the ordinance and language in the ordinance in line with the statutory language.
Any questions for Al? Hearing any public comment? Hearing none, I'll take a roll call vote. Councilman Licciardi?
Yes.
Councilman Messier?
Yes.
Councilwoman Williamson?
Yes.
And I vote yes.
Ordinance 02, second reading of ordinance 2021-8, amending Appendix C traffic ordinance.
Move the ordinance.
Second.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Again, second reading. Any public comment? Hearing none, roll call vote. Councilman Licciardi?
Yes.
Councilman Messier?
Yes.
Councilwoman Williamson?
Yes.
And I vote yes.
All right, new business, May 2021 monthly finance report.
Good evening, councilors. The current year tax collections are at $65,729,837, which is 100.74% of the budget for current year taxes. Prior year tax collections total $1,244,095, which is 82.94% of the budgeted amount. Overall, the revenues are at 98.79%, which is higher than the expected 91.67% for 11 months into the fiscal year. Expenditures are trending under budget at 90.52%. This is 1.15% below the expected 91.67%. The Civic Center is in a surplus position as of May 31st and is projected to be in a surplus position at fiscal year end. General fund is also in a surplus position as of May 31st. The majority of this surplus is directly related to the CRF funds that we are receiving from the state and higher than expected tax collections. The bank balance as of June 9th is $12,189,254.72. And I also attached an update on where we stand with capital with the finance reports. Does anyone have any questions?
Any questions for Kristen so she can go get some rest?
It's a little cold.
Thank you, Kristen. Go get some rest, please. Thank you for being on tonight.
Thank you for
very much.
making the effort.
Thank you.
Okay, authorization to purchase a dingo excavator from Ritchie and Clapper Inc. in an amount not to exceed $42,800.80.
Do I have a motion?
Move the resolution.
A second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion.
I could, before the DPW director speaks, looking at the finances, Kristen and I were originally hesitant in considering deferring this. However, I reconsidered last week based on the fact that Parks and Rec is fully staffed. This piece of equipment was heavily used recently, and I let the director speak more on that. And we have a pretty aggressive schedule ahead to catch up and make some recreation facilities better. So I decided to let this move forward before you for consideration. I'll let Don speak to the specific item.
Don?
Councilors, this is a awesome piece of equipment. We used it extensively up at the playground, and quite honestly, it actually made that whole project up there. Last year, we used it on the youth center project, and when we redid the loamed and seeded, actually loamed and put in turf down at the youth center last year. Also, last year, we were having issues trying to get caught up with the ball fields, and we rented this piece of equipment for a week. And what it did in a week would have taken us a month and a half to do if we had to go by hand. It has what's called a groomer on it. And what it is, it's basically a high-level rototiller, and it breaks the soil up and puts it back down. And if you take a look at the Natick playground, last year we had water ponding on that constantly. When we ran the dingo through it and had it all groomed, we had no drainage problem the rest of the year. Again, it's an extremely valuable piece of equipment, and it's a piece of equipment that, frankly, any parks department should have. It's small, it's versatile. It doesn't have a heavy footprint. So when you run it over turf and stuff of that nature, it doesn't dig the turf up. It can do any job that a bobcat would do, except it doesn't do the damage that a bobcat does. And it's been on the agenda for a couple of years, and it was on the capital plan this year. And I got asked to take care of it out of my budget or out of the capital. And I think we took this out of capital, if I'm correct, Chief. Is that correct, or did it come out of my budget? Do you recall?
It says capital on the resolution.
For
capital.
Reserve capital.
Yeah. And the machine is available. We essentially can pick this up in the next week or so. And I talked with the company a couple of weeks ago, and the amount of $42,880. Why they put the 80 cents in there is beyond me, but that amount is still a valid amount, and that is an MPA for the state of Massachusetts.
Don, my
So
only question, I agree with the machine wholeheartedly. Do we have the money? And I know it's we're in June, we get 2 weeks left. Do we have the money?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Is there any special expertise needed to run this piece of equipment, Don?
No, it's very, very, very simple. It really is. We had guys who did not have operators licenses mastering it in a matter of minutes up at the playground. So no, again, it's very, very easy.
And it is something that we will be able to get readily, I think you said, in a week, because if we're going to get it in October, that doesn't really make sense to bother doing it now.
Yes, we can.
Okay.
So Don, this dingo, you rented this out of Massachusetts last time. Is that the one you were test driving just to see how it was, or?
We've rented it from Richie Clapper three separate times. And again, the three separate times we've rented it, it's been extraordinary.
So Richie Clapper's out of Massachusetts. Why do I'm going to kind of put you on the spot. Why do we go to Massachusetts to rent equipment when Home Depot in Coventry has the same machine?
They don't sell them. This is the New England franchise is out of Richie and Clapper. I believe it's Sudbury, Mass.
No, I understand we don't sell them, but why do we rent them out of Massachusetts? We rented it 3 times.
We've gotten a better deal from Richie and Clapper.
Okay. Well, when you say
I would agree. I would agree with you, David, that we should look closer to home when possible to give the business to Rhode Island if we can. And I'm sure that Don, you'll be cognizant of that.
Absolutely.
And I understand that, but again, I know it takes time. I don't know how many people it takes to go get the machine, how to get the machine back, how to get the machine, how much time. how much of a deal we're getting. I will say, we were all skeptical about the flail mower, and I've been able to see firsthand how quick they can do an area. And Aberdeen Street was actually cleaned up last week. The overgrowth on the street, which probably would have taken them a couple of days, they were done in like an hour. I know they did Montclair Street, the overgrowth on that. And, I know yesterday was a rainy day, but the flail mower, when I saw it, in action, in the end, I think we spent good money on that. I just want to make sure that, $42,800, that this is a machine we're going to use and not just sit in the yard and only use it 3 times a year when you can rent it for $1,000 at a pop or whatever it is. And, we can go 40 years renting and be at that expense, so I just want to make sure it's a machine we're going to use.
It will be a machine that'll get utilized an awful lot. It won't be used in the wintertime, more than likely. It could be used for a little bit of snow removal for a sidewalk or something here and there, but that's not what it's designed for. It is designed for parks upkeep, moving loam around, especially planting trees, that kind of stuff. Putting fence posts in, it has an auger that comes with it. Again, it's something that we will use a lot, and it'll take a lot of pressure off the rec department. The parks department.
Well, that's the next question I have. Okay. Because I've heard this over the past couple of weeks that it's DPW equipment. Parks can't use it or whatever. This is town equipment, correct? Not DPW equipment?
It is town equipment, and I'm not going to make the comments that I want to make on that one. No, anytime we turn around and we have a piece of equipment that is needed by the Parks Department or by the Highway Department, they turn around and use that piece of equipment. Now, clearly, if there's demand for a piece of equipment by both departments, then I decide who gets it.
That's understandable. Thank you. Any other questions?
No, but I appreciate the flail mower comment, and I'm hoping to see how well it works on Wakefield Street very soon.
Tomorrow.
I know.
I wasn't skeptical of the flail mower. I was skeptical about spending the money at that time.
Right.
But I've seen it in action, and it's, time-wise, it's a no-brainer. And as long as we have the money, I'm for the dingo.
Any other questions, concerns, comments? Hearing none, I'll take a roll call vote. Councilman Licciardi?
Yes.
Councilman Messier?
Yes to the dingo.
Councilwoman Williamson?
I'll say yes.
And I'll vote yes.
Okay, upcoming appointments. Sewer Use Board of Review, 1 alternate member vacancy with a term to expire October 2021, and 2 vacancies with a term to expire October 2023. The Pension Committee has 2 vacancies with terms to expire November 18th, 2022 and November 18th, 2021. The Recreation Committee has a vacancy. The Tree Warden and the Planning Board has a term expiring in July of 2020. On to public forum. To participate, use the raise hand icon at the bottom right side of your screen, or if you're using a phone, press *9. The moderator will tell you when it is your turn to speak. Comments during public forum will only be heard and not acted upon by the Town Council. Section 42-46-6 of the Open Meetings Act and Department of the Attorney General advisory opinions relevant to this item on any public body meeting agenda specifically prohibits the Town Council from discussing, considering, or acting on any topic, statement, or question presented. The Town Council may, if warranted, refer such matters to an appropriate committee, to another body or official, or post the matter for consideration on a properly noticed future meeting.
David, may I just for a moment?
Yep, go ahead.
I just wanted to publicly comment on graduation last Friday night, which I thought was spectacular. It was at Masnicki Field. We got a little bit of a misting at one point in time, but that was okay. The work and the time and the effort that was put into it really did show. I think I'm not sure anybody thought that there was going to be an event like that this year. The school department outdid themselves. I'm biased since I'm a product of that school department, but I think it's the best school department in the state, and Karen and her team deserve all sorts of credit for what happened and how it took place. Clearly memories that will last a lifetime for all the families and the students. So I just wanted to make sure that publicly I said that because I thought it was a great event.
I totally agree. And I think at the end, I told Ken Townsend we should have it there every year, but he threw me out. So
I actually said the same thing. So.
And I had the privilege of my daughter graduating that night, so it made it a little more special for me and my family. But it was definitely a beautiful event. I know we're 99% of the time we're there for every graduation, and it's definitely this year was definitely a challenge, but I think it was very well liked by the families, and in the end, it was a beautiful event. Secondly, before anybody else raises their hand, just to the council and to any member who wants to take a look at the playground was poured last week. It's now orange and black. I took a ride by today to look at the finished product. I know there's still some construction going on there, but I want to just give a shout out to Don and group for getting that done last week, and it looks amazing. So good job there. And I know the council, I know we're not meeting until July 20th, so I want to wish everybody a happy 4th of July, a safe 4th of July. But I do know Don talked to me about a road, a bid opening event that he has that he may need us for a quick meeting. And there may also be a car show that we might have to vote on. So I just want to give the council a heads up that we might have to meet for an hour earlier in July with those two items on the agenda only.
And at some point, you know, I agree with you. I've been up at the playground with Don a couple of times in the last week, and it looks amazing. The process was terrific. It's not quite ready. It's not open, so we should
Not
make
ready.
sure that is clear. We will have a grand opening. We'll try to schedule that. Hopefully, maybe before the July 1st, maybe if we could do that. But I think it depends on, as it's pouring out right now, it depends on what Don.
Sun's out where we are.
Yeah, well, that little cloud that follows me around, that's a, so Don, I don't know what your time frame is. I know we talked a little bit about it last week.
I think we're going to have the actual playground itself ready by this weekend. The parking lot will not be ready for a while. It's probably going to be another week before we get the parking lot finished up.
You know, I based on the way it looked when I was up there, I don't think we would want to officially open until that parking area was, because there is quite a difference in elevation. I think
Yes.
that we'd want to make sure. So although it looks terrific and it's not puddling or any of that, which we were a little concerned about, when it rains hard, you got a good test for that. It looks terrific, and we will have a grand opening sometime soon.
Yeah, and just so for everybody's knowledge, we are getting it tested on Thursday to make sure that the shock absorption is what we expect it to be. So we're getting it officially tested on Thursday. They drop a couple of metal balls with sensors in it from different heights, and they'll tell you, yeah, this meets requirement, this doesn't meet requirement.
And
It's like walking on a sponge.
I was amazed, even the first layer, how soft it was. And when will we have the state come out and take a look at it, Don?
I'm trying to wait until we get a little bit further on the parking lot.
Okay.
She doesn't need to see the paving as long as she sees the grading, but I'm waiting for the grading to get finished.
Okay, thank you.
And I see nobody with their hand up. And as I'm looking out the window here at Town Hall, there's a wonderful, beautiful rainbow. So Mary Beth, while you're getting the rain, we have the rainbow.
There you go. Just tell me where that pot of gold is, right?
I'm going to take a picture right now.
Dave, I'd like to add one thing.
Jay, go ahead.
The Historical Society is supposed to give an update at the second meeting of the month. Everything's been stagnant. So I've talked to Jerry Tellier. They will be back on board giving a monthly report in July.
Okay.
So I've been talking with him every month, and there's been really nothing going on. So we hope to have, there will be some movement in July, I can tell you that.
All right, thank you. I see no hands up, so I need a motion.
I'm gonna make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second,
All in favor?
aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you very
Thanks.
much.